Ukraine's Air Force urgently needs an upgrade, and fighter jets or attack aircraft have become a hot topic of discussion. But why are they so important, and what models could be delivered? Welcome to Talking Tactics, where in this episode we want to take a quick glance into the sky. Recently, Ukrainian Air Force spokesperson Yuri Ignat declared publicly that the best Ukrainian pilots have been selected and are prepared to start training in any country ready to receive them. It was a bold statement, almost a challenge. But why would he do this? Ukraine's Air Force is without question inferior to its Russian counterpart. Still, the country has managed to stop Russia from establishing total air superiority, so the airspace over the country remains contested. For Ukraine, reliable military aircraft are the last missing key in a long list of military aid that was promised after some initial political hesitance. Sure, big countries like the USA, Great Britain, France, etc. have a global political responsibility, and it's normal that before making big decisions that could escalate the conflict with Russia, there is some kind of discussion going on. On the other hand, every day that passes makes the situation for Ukraine more dire. However, there is some light at the end of the tunnel, and the first Ukrainian pilots have actually already reached the US for assessment training to test their potential abilities to pilot certain aircraft. Anyways, down to business. While Ukraine is of course willing to accept any aid it can get, a couple of possibilities have been the main topic of discussion in the past months. One of the many options are so-called multi-role fighter jets like the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle or the General Dynamics F-16 fighting Falcon. Multi-role means they can fulfill different purposes and are able to use modern high-precision air-to-air as well as air-to-ground weapons, so against ground troops, against other aircraft or fighter jets, or against enemy missiles. They're basically everything you imagine from the movies. The F-15 has a very powerful twin engine with a top speed of up to Mach 2.5. The F-16 is a bit slower, around Mach 2.2, but more maneuverable. Another candidate is the Fairchild Republic A-10 Thunderbolt II, nicknamed Warthog, due to its not-so-appealing form. It is an attack aircraft designed primarily to provide close air support, which means to support ground troops. So they're not multi-role fighter jets, but can carry a high payload, have thick armor, and are also much cheaper and said to be not so complicated to handle like an F-15 or an F-16. The original price was around $1.4 million per unit in the 70s. An F-16 costs more than 10 times that, the F-15 even more. In correspondence also, maintenance and the cost per flight hour of the A-10 is a lot cheaper. But again, the A-10 is really most effective in attacking targets on the ground. And yes, Ukrainian troops would appreciate any help from the skies, especially against the still large amount of active Russian tanks, but concerns have been raised that the Warthog would not only be highly vulnerable to Russian fighter jets, but also to a range of anti-aircraft systems used. Also, with a top speed of less than 500 miles per hour, it is quite slow. Others argue that, for example, during the Gulf War, the A-10 proved to be effective in quite a few different kinds of missions, shooting down Iraqi helicopters and hunting Scud missiles. Maybe in the comments you guys can give your opinion. Is the delivery of Warthogs to Ukraine a good idea? And are F-15 or F-16 jets realistic options? An article by Time magazine actually stated that Ukrainian pilots were not only being assessed, but also already trained to fly the A-10 in the USA. But still, until now, we see a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation, and we're not sure what exactly will happen, which planes will be sent when and by whom. Anyways, while there are big differences between these models and their potential effectiveness, Ukraine is not in a position to be picky. Countries like Poland or Slovakia have offered to send MiG-29 fighter jets, and F-16s do not necessarily have to be delivered by the USA, as many countries employ them. Since the recording of this episode, Poland announced it wants to deliver around a dozen MiG-29 fighter jets to Ukraine. Slovakia will be donating 13. There are also European options, the Eurofighter or the German Tornado. One thing remains clear: Ukraine will take any help it can get. That brings us back to the statement of Air Force spokesperson Ignat. The best Ukrainian pilots have been selected and are prepared to start training in any country that is ready to receive them. And we will make sure to produce a follow-up episode as soon as there's more clarity on the subject. Thank you for watching Talking Tactics. Thank you also for your comments on the last video about semiconductor chips. We read some of your suggestions with great interest, really. If you have any thoughts on this topic, please share them with us, as we are also always eager to learn. Otherwise, see you next week.